My childhood friend mentioned that she wanted her crystal beads to share in the glory of my family, so my husband scattered them on the ground, causing me to miscarry. Lying on the operating table, I felt excruciating pain as if my body were being torn apart. I kept calling my husband, but in the end, he blocked my calls. After the surgery, I lay in the hospital room. I saw a post on my husband's childhood friend's social media. He was kneeling on one knee, solemnly handing her a certificate. The caption read, "He loves me so much. He even started a company for me to practice on the day the branch office opened." My husband's childhood friend was wearing a custom-made outfit. I was wearing a dress his childhood friend had discarded, and I didn't even get inside the building. Suppressing my bitterness, I called the lawyer. Has the divorce process been finalized? A week after I was discharged from the hospital, my husband Oliver finally returned. He looked careless, but his nervousness was evident, mixed with a sense of triumph. I remained calm and composed, not pressing him on why he had blocked me. I simply silently prepared the medications the doctor had prescribed. "Emma, I told you about opening the branch office earlier. It's finally happening. Believe me, things will only get better. I've been too busy to contact you lately, but it's all because of this. You won't blame me, will you?" I couldn't even manage a fake smile. I moved my lips but didn't speak. This wasn't the first time Oliver had acted like this. Every time, he used a reasonable excuse to shut me up. Seeing I didn't react, he came over to hug me, but I stood up and avoided him. I whispered, "I don't blame you. Can you please not touch me?" Oliver's hands hung in the air, as if he couldn't believe what was happening. He then smiled. "Emma, I'm sorry, don't be angry, okay? An angry Emma isn't very pretty." I didn't respond. Look at him, even when he's trying to comfort me, he's still playing games with me. Unfortunately, I only realized it now. Guess what I bought for you? He ignored my emotions and pretended to be mysterious as he picked up a bag from the entrance. The elegant logo was paired with a large wooden box. It's a sushi box from the top sushi restaurant in town. "The sashimi today is all top-notch. I specially brought it back for you to try." He excitedly opened the box, rubbing his hands together, and said, "I specially went to buy it. You love it the most, come try it." I stood there silently, not moving. Sadness felt like a nail, pinning me to the spot, watching him act out his own little scene. I smiled wryly. "Oliver, we've been married for 7 years, and I've never eaten seafood. Where did you get the idea that it's my favorite?" Oliver's chopsticks trembled and fell to the floor. His face was a mix of emotions, but there was no guilt among them. There was a hint of embarrassment, as if he was blaming me for not going along with him. "I'm sorry, Emma. I was busy and forgot about it." He hadn't forgotten. Sashimi was his childhood friend Sophia's favorite. He had just mistaken the person. Oliver started to make amends, pulling out a jewelry box from somewhere. He handed it to me eagerly. "This is the real surprise. Open it and take a look." I saw the huge HW on the box. It was definitely a luxury brand. I just didn't know what was inside. When I finally opened it, my nose suddenly stung. This gold-plated necklace was the one Sophia had posted on her WeChat moments earlier that afternoon. It was the gift that came with her diamond ring. In other words, he had given me the junk his childhood friend didn't want, and he was trying to make me thank him gratefully. I still remember the caption Sophia had written on her WeChat moments. "With a luxury brand to compare it to, this necklace is only fit to be tossed to a beggar begging for scraps. My junk always has someone waiting to take it." Turns out, I'm the beggar waiting for someone to take my junk. And I finally understand what Oliver meant by the always lackluster gifts he gave me. The gifts I treasured were just tools to shatter my illusions. "What's wrong, Emma? It's just a necklace. You're so happy you're about to cry." I sniffed and closed the box. Oliver thought I really liked it, and his heart blossomed with pride over his little trick. "By the way, why did you call me so many times? Are you uncomfortable?" I turned away. Nothing, but my heart felt icy cold, so he knew I'd be uncomfortable too. But what does it matter if he did? He wouldn't care about me at all. He'd just resent me for interrupting his plans. Like, for example, ruining Oliver's plans to take his childhood friend on a cruise, watch the sunrise over the sea, and confess his feelings under the fireworks. He didn't even think it was worth his time to give me a half-hearted response. I got up and went back to my bedroom. Oliver called out to me, but his phone rang first. He didn't answer it, but turned around with a guilty expression. "Something's wrong. I need to go to the office." He left the house without saying another word. He didn't even notice my pale face or the medicine bottles scattered on the table. I heard Oliver slam the door shut. I immediately took out my phone and called my lawyer. Start preparing everything now. I want a divorce. The lawyer was surprised by my decision and hurried to persuade me. Mrs. Oliver, are you sure about this? Divorce means you'll have to sever ties with your husband. I nodded, realizing the other person couldn't see me. Gritting my teeth, I replied with a firm yes. I've made up my mind, start handling it. When Oliver and I got married, my entire family opposed it. His family background wasn't good. While I was a genuine heiress from a wealthy family, a mismatch in every way, no one believed in our relationship. It wasn't until my father forced him to sign a prenuptial agreement that they finally allowed us to get married. At the time, I mocked him for being old-fashioned, saying that Oliver and I would grow old together. Little did I know it would end like this. Oliver was someone I actively pursued. Back in university, I was arrogant and turned down everyone who pursued me, but he never came near me and never flattered me just because I was a wealthy heiress. Later, I found out that his best friend also attended our school. He loved deeply, willing to be a lapdoganda backup option. It wasn't until graduation, when Sophia announced she was moving abroad to get married, that Oliver finally gave up. But he didn't completely give up. Maybe being a lapdog was just too exhausting. He came looking for a warm harbor to rest, but I took it seriously. That night, after we slept together, I directly proposed marriage. Oliver was startled. He said, "Emma, aren't you afraid I have someone else in my heart?" I immediately replied that I had the confidence to be his wife, to be the woman he spends his life with. Looking back now, it's laughable. 3 years ago, Sophia made a phone call, and Oliver crossed the ocean to see her. All because she said she missed him. 2 years ago, when I was in the emergency room after a car accident, Oliver disappeared that night. It was because Sophia had returned to the country. And they spent the night together. Last year, during the company's shareholders' meeting, he suddenly disappeared. It turned out he had gone to feed pigeons with Sophia, who was in a bad mood and had forgotten everything else. Opening Oliver's travel app, his flight patterns over the years could circle the Earth twice. These were all proof of his deep love. And the reason for my miscarriage was also confirmed in Sophia's social media posts. That so-called lucky crystal bead wasn't bought by him. It was something Sophia had worn for many years. She wasn't wearing it for good luck. She just wanted to rub it in my face, and Oliver knew I was pregnant. If he had accidentally stepped on it, it could have caused a miscarriage, but when it was scattered on the ground, he didn't even bother to tell me. I finally woke up. From the very beginning, this marriage was a mistake. Until that day when I was alone at home, bleeding profusely. I was so scared I lost all my strength and couldn't get through to Oliver's phone. I finally realized he had never cared about me, and this mistake should end completely. Oliver, since you love her, I'll let you have her. Oliver left not long after. And I washed up and went to bed. The doctor told me to rest more. Just as I was about to fall asleep, I received a call from him. All I heard was the sound of the wind through the phone. That convertible sports car was the one I had bought for him. "I'm sorry, Emma, this is too much trouble. I don't think I'll be back tonight, don't wait up for me. Go to sleep. I know I've been neglecting you lately. I'll make it up to you later." We swore to share both the good times and the bad as husband and wife. Before I could say anything, he hung up. All sleep was gone. Countless times, Oliver had used the same excuse to brush me off. Company issues, client meetings, or major events, I scoffed. Staring at the darkened screen, I muttered to myself, "This marriage isn't worth it. I've had enough of this suffering. Vows only hold weight in the moment they're made. Once they're over, they don't mean anything anymore." The next morning, the bed was empty. He hadn't come home after all. I felt a sense of relief. Just as I was about to make breakfast, I received a call from another director at the company. "Emma, your chairman is acting so arrogant. He didn't even show up for the board meeting. It's okay. He won't have the chance to do that anymore." I laughed lightly and hung up the phone. The company is just a tool for him to withdraw money, as long as he gets paid. He doesn't care whether he works or not. Just as I was about to call Oliver, I accidentally scrolled through Sophia's social media feed. The post was from last night. "I came all the way here to be with you, no matter the weather. I know you're the one who loves me the most." The photo showed the two of them in dim, romantic lighting. With Oliver's eyes looking a bit dazed, I still called Oliver. "What's wrong?" As soon as I connected, his voice sounded muffled and tired. Before I could speak, I heard a highly suggestive moan through the phone. Oliver, don't. In an instant, all the blood rushed to my head, and my stomach churned violently, making me want to vomit. The words I was about to say were all swallowed back. I hung up the phone immediately. I leaned against the kitchen table and slowly sat down, my body still trembling slightly. Oliver and I had been married for several years, but we had only slept together a handful of times. He said he was extremely cold in that department, a natural flaw. It turned out he just didn't want to touch me. When he met Sophia, it was like dry kindling and a flame, so much fun. After calming down for a while, I started frantically scrolling through Sophia's social media. I saved all the photos and videos of the two of them together. I sent all the evidence of him groveling before her, cooking for her, and presenting her with expensive gifts to the lawyer. Since you love her so much, I'll make her wedding dress with my own hands. I'll help her become Oliver's wife. That night, Oliver unexpectedly came home. I had prepared a feast for myself. When Oliver walked in, he thought I had made it for him. Emma, you're pregnant? How can you work so hard? You don't need to do this. As he reached out to hug me, I twisted away. I looked at my hands. Once upon a time, I had dreamed of using these hands to build a career. Now I spend my days cooking for him and managing the household. And he didn't know that my baby had already left me. I lowered my head and tears fell. I quickly wiped them away. When I turned back, I saw Oliver had already started eating on his own. In that moment, I suddenly wanted to flip the table, feeling that none of this was worth it. Emma, you said you grew up in luxury, yet you cook so well. Marrying you is truly my good fortune. By the way, our wedding anniversary is coming up soon. Do you want to have a big celebration or just the two of us? After Oliver finished speaking, I immediately recalled how every year our anniversary had been ruined by her childhood friend. I'm sure she won't spare me this year either. Either way is fine, I don't care anymore. Oliver agreed readily. On the day of the anniversary, he booked a top-tier Western restaurant with meticulously prepared dishes. As soon as we sat down, Oliver's phone started ringing again. He only glanced at it and I knew he wouldn't stay. Emma, it's work. I have to go right away. I didn't look up, whatever. I didn't want to hear another word. It was all lies anyway. Oliver was relieved and opened a bottle of wine before leaving. Next time, I'll throw a big party to make it up to you. I didn't say anything, just enjoyed the food. No need for next time, Oliver. You don't have a chance. I sat there alone, feeling so out of place compared to the couples around me, thinking back to all those years, how I broke ties with my family to marry Oliver, how I spent every birthday and anniversary alone. Back then, Oliver said that if I married him, he'd never let me be alone again. He was my family, so I bit the bullet and went all in. I thought he was worth everything I had to give. Now I realize it was he who dug this pit for me. I raised my wine glass and waved it at the empty seat across from me. Oliver, I'd rather be alone. You're no longer my family. That incident made Oliver feel guilty, so he sent me a dress as compensation. It was an extremely vibrant magenta. Very flashy, it wasn't my style at all. I recalled the post Sophia had shared on her social media last night. Someone had bought a color she didn't like, so she made them sleep on the couch tonight. The photo was of this dress, and Oliver hadn't come home either. He'd rather sleep on the couch than return to this so-called home. I tugged at the corner of my mouth. For me, Oliver smiled openly. I picked it out especially for you. Do you like it? I smiled but didn't say anything. The size doesn't fit. I was about to throw it down and go back to my room to rest, but I suddenly stopped. Tomorrow is the opening ceremony of the branch office. Did you give me the dress because you want me to accompany you? Oliver's face froze. He clearly hadn't thought of that. No, I immediately covered his mouth. No problem, I'll definitely be there for tomorrow's dinner. Oliver looked uncomfortable and stammered for a while. Emma, you've always disliked such occasions. Don't put yourself in an awkward position. I held up the dress and gestured. Although the size doesn't fit, it's clear that Oliver loves Sophia. This brand's clothes are custom made, and it's not that easy to get them. The new company's opening is a big deal. As the boss's wife, I should make an appearance. Oliver tried to say something else, but I turned around and went back to the bedroom. I didn't give him a chance to come up with another excuse. When I woke up the next day, Oliver was already gone. In the afternoon, professional stylists and makeup artists came to my house to get me ready. When I arrived at the venue, where Oliver was hosting the dinner party, I was stopped at the door by security. Ma'am, you cannot enter without an invitation. I didn't argue with them and called my assistant to come pick me up. What the hell? This is Oliver's wife. The assistant bowed respectfully and ushered me inside, but I noticed cold sweat trickling down his forehead, and his hands were trembling slightly. What is he afraid of? Afraid I'll see something or hear something? As I approached the banquet hall, I saw Sophia leaning against Oliver from a distance. She looked like his beloved wife. Oh, our Oliver doesn't let me drink too much, he's so possessive. I walked over to join the conversation. Are you family? Oliver turned his head at the sound and dropped his wine glass. Everyone looked at me at the same time. Their expressions varied. Some didn't recognize me, while others did. All eyes were on me. Only Oliver dared not look at me. How did you get here? He was visibly tense, and Sophia, standing beside him, held him even tighter. When she looked at me, there was not a trace of fear in her eyes. Emma, you're here? Sophia greeted me without hesitation, as if she were the hostess of the gathering. She was wearing a custom-made dress designed by a famous designer. Oliver had given it to her. I was wearing a dress that Sophia looked down on, yet it drew everyone's attention. It seemed like she still didn't understand who the real star of the day was. Oliver hurriedly stood in front of Sophia. He really loved her. Emma, Sophia is back from abroad. I completely forgot to tell you. I smiled at him, my gaze falling on Sophia's arm that he was holding. Oliver immediately let go. Sophia huffed in displeasure. Don't misunderstand. Sophia and I have known each other for years. We grew up together, you know? Oliver tried to explain, but I stopped him with a wave of my hand. You're just friends. Oliver hurriedly smiled apologetically. Just then, one of Oliver's friends walked over, looking at the lively scene. He blurted out without any context. Sophia, back then you looked down on old Oliver for being poor and married him abroad. Now look at his wife, so beautiful. Do you regret it, after saying that? He burst into laughter. The entire crowd fell silent. The man awkwardly cleared his throat. Oliver's face turned red and he glared at him, but the man didn't care. Using your wife's family's money to support your ex, that's hilarious. What a winner. I didn't say anything. Oliver looked at me nervously. Emma at that moment. The assistant hurried over to smooth things over. The drone show is about to begin. Please move to the viewing platform. I followed the crowd over. The drone show was even more spectacular. In the final scene, countless drones formed several large characters. Sophia, Oliver loves you for the rest of his life. The person in question was smiling like a flower. Oliver, standing beside her, looked like a stone statue. He probably thought the security guard at the door would stop me. Given my personality, I would never force my way in. So I wasn't even part of his plan. Everyone looked at me at the same time. At that moment, I felt that this world was truly amazing. Oliver finally looked at me. The 6 huge characters lingered in the sky for a long time before fading away. Everyone at the scene looked awkward. Emma, you know we all treat Sophia like a younger sister. So I smiled. Oh, Oliver panicked and pulled me, but I ignored him and turned back to the main hall. Everyone followed my lead and returned to their seats. I was truly calm. I wasn't pretending. I was also surprised that I didn't feel a thing in such a public display of affection. It made me think of the past. Oliver had never said those 3 words to me, not even when we got married, or even during our honeymoon. It turned out he really valued promises, he just didn't make them to me. But when I faced her, my thoughts were interrupted by the cheers at the door. Several waiters pushed a cart inside. A huge multi-tiered cake was rolled in. The cake was exquisite, but strangely, the design wasn't something grand. Instead, it featured 2 small figures, a man and a woman. As the crowd cheered, those near the cart stopped laughing simultaneously. Then they all turned to look at me. I stood still, watching the elaborate cake being pushed toward me. The manager bowed slightly. This was something Oliver had arranged a month ago. Shut up, Oliver shouted, and the manager turned pale with fear. I curved my lips into a smile. At the bottom of the cake, there was a clear line of text. Sophia and Oliver will never part, through life and death. What a touching phrase. Emma, listen to me. I can't hear a word. Emma shook off Oliver's hand, but Sophia quickly grabbed it. Emma, there's no need to explain. She smiled, her expression saying it all. You're just shameless, I know it. I thought of the romantic confession and those words, and suddenly felt a sharp pain in my heart. Oliver came from a poor family. When they first got married, he didn't even recognize a few luxury brands. He wasn't a person who valued rituals, let alone picking out gifts. When we walked on the street, Oliver kept a few paces away from me. He refused to get close to me. I always thought it was because he was too proud and too much of a macho man. But now, he had custom made a cake a month in advance and prepared the most spectacular opening banquet for her. In this stunning confession, I was the one who felt out of place. He wasn't incapable of loving someone, he just didn't love me. I stood up and looked around, feeling unwell. I excused myself. After taking a few steps, Oliver grabbed my arm. Emma, I forcefully shook off his hand. It was the hand he had just held. It made me feel sick to my stomach. I understood. There was no need for explanations. I cut him off before he could say another word. I really didn't want to hear his elaborate lies anymore. That day, Oliver unexpectedly came home. When he arrived, I was looking out the window at the river view. He walked over to hug me. I pushed him away in disgust. Emma, you should know how I feel about you. There's nothing between me and her. I laughed coldly. We already have a baby, and I'm looking forward to his arrival. I truly love this family. Not mentioning it is better. Whenever I think about the baby we lost, my heart aches. Oliver doesn't know that his baby is already gone. It's fortunate that he wasn't born into this family. If Oliver had cared more about this family, even if he had just looked at the medicine bottle on the table, he wouldn't have said those words. Unfortunately, he didn't. My eyes stung, and tears flowed uncontrollably. Oliver was visibly panicking. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I'll reflect on myself and change what. My heart ached. Suddenly, I remembered when we first got married. Oliver had also spoken sweet words to me. Unfortunately, those promises were as fragile as the baby we lost. They shattered at the slightest touch. In the days that followed, Oliver didn't go anywhere. He didn't go to work, didn't answer his phone, and stayed by my side no matter what I did, like a tireless piece of adhesive plaster. He wanted to explain himself, but my response was always indifferent. He kept doing things for me, and I saw the person I once was, completely devoted to him. It turns out being taken care of feels so good. But perhaps my calm demeanor made him anxious, and he suggested we go hiking together. That had been my wish when we first got married. I had hoped that one day, Oliver and I would stand together under the golden sunlight, holding hands forever. But that wish would never come true still. I nodded in agreement. Oliver, overjoyed, immediately began booking flights and making arrangements. I was happy to have some free time and kept urging the lawyer to prepare the documents quickly. The next morning, just before we were about to leave, Oliver's phone started buzzing. From the moment we drove to the suburban airport, Oliver's phone kept ringing. When we arrived at the airport, Oliver couldn't resist answering the call. Emma, I have something urgent to attend to. Can I accompany you later? It's fine. My heart was as still as water. Oliver thought I'd be upset, but in reality, I didn't even bother to show any emotion. He looked at me in surprise, a hint of pain flashing in his eyes. Emma, you don't have to be so understanding. Can't you just tease me a little? I furrowed my brows. Okay? Oliver bit his lip. I knew he'd noticed something was off, but his phone kept ringing. A few seconds later, he still chose to drive away, wait for me. With that, I was left alone at the airport entrance, blowing in the wind. He didn't even ask if I wanted to go home or continue hiking. He was in such a hurry to rush to his true love. I suddenly felt relieved. For so many days, Oliver had forced himself to stay by my side, and both of us were exhausted. I turned and walked toward the airport. The trip would be much happier without him. I finally saw the sun shining on the Golden Mountain. In the small town at the foot of the snow-capped mountains, I turned off my phone and cut myself off from the world for a week. During that week, I realized a truth. In this life, the person you should love the most is yourself. A week later, I returned home to find it completely empty. I had been gone for as many days as Oliver had been missing. Feeling bored, I sat down and opened my social media feed. Soon I came across Sophia's posts showing off her love. Reunited after a breakup is sweeter than honey. Her captions were becoming increasingly unashamed. It turned out that in those 7 days, the two had reconciled. No, they were even sweeter than before. He abandoned me to be with Sophia. All I could say was that he didn't admit it with words, but his actions spoke volumes. There was no food at home, so I went to the supermarket to buy some ingredients. For some reason, I felt off while driving. Before I knew it, I collided with a small passenger car at an intersection. This was the second time in my life I was taken to the hospital by an ambulance. I instinctively called Oliver, but he didn't answer. Then I lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes again, only the doctor was standing by my bedside. It's nothing serious, but your body is too weak. You can go home after the injection. Call your family to come pick you up. I smiled. I don't have any family. My only legally recognized husband is out with his childhood friend. I watched the medicine drip into the Roman 4. After the needle was removed, I was about to leave alone when a familiar figure suddenly entered my field of vision. Oliver was carefully supporting Sophia, both of them smiling. They were heading toward the obstetrics and gynecology department. I followed them inside and saw the two of them enter the examination room together. As I approached, someone tapped me on the shoulder. It was the head nurse I had met during my previous miscarriage. "Emma, are you feeling unwell?" I shook my head repeatedly. "No, I was just passing by." Just as I spoke, the clinic door opened. Oliver saw me and jumped in surprise. "Emma, what are you doing here?" He unconsciously looked at my stomach. "Are you feeling unwell? Is the baby okay?" Sophia behind him stared at me with eyes like poison. The head nurse looked at me in confusion. "Is this your husband?" I shook my head, no. As I turned to leave, Oliver pulled me back. "Emma, are you okay? Don't scare me. Are you here for your prenatal checkup? Wait for me. I'll take Sophia back." "I can't wait, I have legs." I shook off Oliver. "I'll go back myself." That night, Oliver still didn't come home. Before going to bed, I saw Sophia's WeChat post. She and Oliver had gone to the mountains to watch the stars. The caption read, "I made a wish on a shooting star, hoping that heaven would grant me a baby like him." They had already started trying to conceive. Oliver was really something. I closed my WeChat like an outsider, my heart as still as water. The next morning, I started packing. While Oliver was away, I made all the preparations. The plane ticket to go abroad, my belongings, and the divorce agreement. After finishing everything, I deleted my WeChat account, threw away the SIM card, and began my journey alone. When I arrived in the warm southern hemisphere, Oliver, who was still in the northern hemisphere, finally realized I was missing. In my place, my lawyer contacted him on my behalf. After watching the shooting stars that night and putting his pregnant wife Sophia to sleep, he finally remembered that his wife was waiting for him at home. So he called me, but my phone was turned off. He couldn't sit still. He wanted to come home to see me, but Sophia held him back tightly. "You said you wanted a child, and she's the only one who can give you one. Let's just do it now." That night, Oliver succumbed again. Sophia could control him with just a few words. That was her skill. Of course, all of this was told to me by Sophia, including how passionate Oliver had been. It can only be said that women are as meticulous as hair. Even though I deleted my original contact information, she still managed to find me. The next morning, after leaving her cozy home, Oliver tried to contact me again. He found that I had blocked him on WeChat, and his phone was turned off. Oliver was truly panicking. He wanted to leave the company and go home, but was once again blocked by Sophia, who had rushed over. "Where are you going? You can't just let her go like this." Oliver hurriedly tried to comfort Sophia. "Sweetheart, I'm just worried about her. After all, she's pregnant." Sophia heard this and became even more agitated. "It's just a child. I can have one too. I can get pregnant quickly." Oliver saw her shouting loudly at the door and felt his face burning with embarrassment. Plus, this was the first time he couldn't contact me at all, so he was extremely anxious. After Sophia blocked him repeatedly, Oliver lost his temper. He pushed her aside and left the company. It is said that Sophia sat at the company entrance crying for several hours and refused to leave. Oliver, of course, did not show up again. I didn't want to pay attention to them, but unfortunately, I still managed to find out everything about them, but at least they no longer bothered me. When Oliver returned home, he saw the divorce agreement on the table. He searched the house and found that everything related to me was gone. The toothbrush, face towel, clothes in the wardrobe, cosmetics on the sink, anything that belonged to me was gone, including that photo of me smiling and him with a cold expression on our wedding day. Everything was gone. Oliver held the divorce agreement and collapsed onto the floor. "Emma, no, you said you'd never leave me." At that moment, I was flipping through the surveillance footage looking for something. After finding nothing, I heard him say those words. "But Oliver, you also said you'd always be sincere with me." It's clear that forever was just empty words. I had my lawyer send him the irrefutable evidence of his infidelity during our marriage. Sophia's WeChat moments were printed out and neatly arranged, one by one in front of him. At the bottom was the medical report from my miscarriage and hospitalization. Seeing this, Oliver completely broke down. My child. His child had been gone for half a month. It was the day he blocked me, and I had the surgery alone at the hospital. Emma, I'm so sorry, I really didn't know. Oliver cried uncontrollably in front of the lawyer. I didn't know you suffered so much, I really didn't know. The lawyer shook his head helplessly. Mr. Oliver? There is also a message from Miss Emma. Oliver, you've forgotten how your father cheated on your mother and drove her to the brink of despair. You once said you hated him with all your heart and would never be like him. But the truth is, genes are powerful, you're just like him. Divorce him, don't make me look down on you. Oliver seemed to finally remember his mother's appearance before she died. His face turned pale and his eyes were filled with pain. I was wrong, Emma. Don't leave me? He clenched his fists tightly as if that could alleviate his pain. He crumpled my letter into a ball, his body shaking like a sieve. The intense pain made him unable to sit still, and he fell to the ground, looking utterly defeated. Then he suddenly realized something. He turned and ran out. Oliver ran alone on the road for a long time. When he arrived at the apartment he had bought for Sophia, she was at home watching TV happily. Seeing Oliver, Sophia's eyes lit up. You finally came back, huh? I won't forgive you unless you buy me 2 handbags. Oliver's expression was filled with anger. Sophia was terrified. She curled up and looked at Oliver. Oliver, what's wrong with you? Why are you looking at me like that? Oliver walked up to her and, without hesitation, slapped Sophia across the face. A loud slap echoed through the room, and blood trickled from the corner of Sophia's mouth. Oliver, you're crazy, you dare hit me? Sophia was stunned for a few seconds before finally managing to retaliate, but she was firmly held down by Oliver. You slut, you've always wanted to destroy my family. You deliberately added Emma and posted those WeChat moments. You did it on purpose? Sophia wasn't one to back down either. She reached out and slapped Oliver across the face. She scratched a big red mark on Oliver's face. You heartless bastard, you were the one who said you only loved me. How could you marry me without breaking up with her? How could you have a child with me? Do you want me to be your mistress for the rest of my life? No way. Sophia hadn't finished speaking. Smack. Another crisp sound. This time, the sound was much louder. Oliver seemed to have gathered all his strength and his hand was bright red after hitting her. So your heart is so evil. I gave you money, a house, and started a company for you, and you're still not satisfied. You're a disaster? Seeing that she couldn't get through to him, Sophia immediately changed tactics. She covered her face like a kitten and looked at Oliver. Her eyes were filled with tears. Oliver, it's because I love you so much that I lost my mind. I love you, that's why I want you to leave her. This is true love, Oliver. Oliver sneered, grabbing Sophia's chin. He squeezed it so hard she started screaming in pain. He looked her up and down with those malicious eyes. Love me? Have you forgotten how you abandoned me for that rich guy? Back then, you looked down on me for being poor and said I had no future. Do you think I've forgotten, you gold-digging slut? I just wanted to play with you, but you dared to ruin my family. Hearing this, Sophia's eyes turned red with rage, as if she wanted to kill Oliver. You bastard, you seduced me first, you were the one who acted like a slut. Everything that's happening now is your own doing. Yes, Oliver did it willingly. At first, it might have been out of resentment. The woman who abandoned him had returned, and he wanted her to see how successful he had become. Later, he was trapped by Sophia. He gave her a car, a house, and money. She worshipped him like a god. No one could resist such a feeling. Oliver had fallen deeper than he ever imagined. Oliver spat in Sophia's face. Get out of here, this house is mine. Get out immediately. That night, the two fought until the neighbors called the police. I didn't want to watch their drama, but someone kept sending me videos of it. Actually, after I stopped loving him, all this drama added some spice to my life. My trip ended on a small island in the southern hemisphere. It's a place with a very small population and a tiny land area. The residents' happiness index is indeed the highest in the world. I chose to follow a professor here to study my favorite subject. I thought life would continue smoothly like this. Until one day, I saw a man lingering outside my house. His figure was so familiar that I could recognize him even in the dark. On the first day, I ignored him. On the third day, the neighbors called the police. I had to step in to help him. After the crowd dispersed, I looked at Oliver. What are you doing here? What do you want? Oliver looked like a homeless man, reeking of alcohol, and grabbed me tightly. Emma, I finally found you. Please don't leave me. I was wrong. I've completely cut off all ties with her. Come back with me. Please, I can't live without you. I laughed coldly and shook him off. We're already divorced. You signed the agreement yourself. Don't act crazy here. Go back now. Oliver clearly didn't want to give up. He clung to me tightly, sobbing. After you left, I realized how much I love you. I really can't live without you. I only love you. I was just playing around with her. Looking at the disheveled Oliver, I felt nothing. Human nature is despicable. We only learn to cherish what we've lost. Unaware that those who have been betrayed have long since grown cold-hearted, there's absolutely no chance of going back. Oliver, you're truly pathetic. I gave you countless chances, and you didn't take any of them. How dare you ask me for another chance, when you were spending my money to buy her a house and gifts while sleeping with her every night? Did you ever consider my feelings? Now you're pretending to be so deeply in love. It just makes me feel sick. Finally, I gave Oliver an ultimatum. Don't let me see you again, or I'll call the police. Later, I met another man who was the opposite of Oliver. He paid attention to every little thing I did. That's when I realized that love is something you can hear and see. If you just left a single piece of food on your plate, he would notice and realize that you didn't like that dish. Later, I had a child and decided to return to my homeland to inherit the family business. Upon returning, I heard that Oliver had fallen into despair. Without me, his so-called company gradually went bankrupt. As a result, he developed a drinking problem. He ended up getting back together with Sophia, and the two had a son. But he didn't work, and it was the woman who worked to support him. Sophia tried to leave several times, but Oliver had lost all sense of shame. He searched for her online, threatening to drown the child if she left. They were effectively bound together. Isn't that a kind of fulfillment?